guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a kind of a little book haul thing, and I have quite a few books to talk about. So these are it's called my Christmas book haul, but it's kind of more than just Christmas because I'm basically dividing this into like 3 sections. So what I'm doing is first the books that I actually got for Christmas, and then the books that my friend gave me before, like not before, but after Christmas, and then books I bought for myself. So let's get right into it. Alright, so the first section here I have is the books that I actually got for Christmas, and the first one we are going to start off with is Once Upon a Time, Henry and Violet by Michelle Sink. So basically this one is kind of is based off the TV show. I think that's what they're basing it off. I don't think the books were written before the TV show, but I could be wrong. But basically, there's this TV show called Once Upon a Time, and in that TV show, basically what happens is a bunch of fairy tale characters live in this town called Storybrooke. And in this town, they don't remember who they are since the evil queen cast a spell, and so this boy, Henry, is trying to make them all remember. And so what happens from there on is they travel through many, adventures, chaos, all that kind of stuff. So this one follows Henry and his love interest, Violet, who is... I'm not sure whose Violet's parents are. For some reason I want to think King Arthur, but I feel like that isn't right, but at the same time I kind of feel like it is. So we're just going to go unknown because I don't know. But basically, that's a little background. It's mostly like you have to kind of watch the TV show first to understand who all the characters are and stuff, but you don't have to. It's not like a requirement, but you should definitely check it out for all of you Once Upon a Time fans. Okay, the next book I have is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Finally have this book in my possession, and I am so happy about it because I have been wanting this book forever. And so finally for Christmas my aunt got it for me, and I was very, very pleased to see this, and I'm very excited to have this in my hand because I've been wanting this book for the longest time, but I've never been able to buy it for myself because it was always like too expensive, and I never had enough money because I suck at spending money. So I finally have this in my possession and I am very happy about it. So basically I don't know a ton about this book, but from what I do know, I know that Eleanor is the new girl in town, and then Park seems invisible to everyone else, but not to Eleanor. And so these two kind of slowly start talking and become in this kind of like friendship state, and then they kind of start to fall for each other. And I think it has something to do with like mixtapes. They make mixtapes for each other or something like that. Something along those lines. But I'm very, very, very excited to read this book. And I still have not read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, but that's going to happen this year. I want to read both of these this year, but I don't know when I'm going to get to them because I have so many books to read and so very little time. But I'm very, very, very excited to pick this book up. Alright, the next 3 books I have is a box set by Neil Gaiman. In this box set it includes The Graveyard Book, Fortunately the Milk, and Coraline. So I'm not 100% sure about what The Graveyard Book and Fortunately the Milk are about. I kind of read a short synopsis, but I don't really know how to explain it because I'm not really sure what they're about. But I do know what Coraline is about because I've seen the movie a dozen times. It's one of my favorite movies, but I've never gotten to read the book, so I'm very excited to read this book. And I'm not sure because on the cover you can see kind of what this cover looks like, and in the movie she has blue hair and her yellow raincoat and her striped shirt and her jeans, but not in this one. This one here, if it'll focus, that's what this cover looks like. I haven't taken it out of the box yet because I kind of like them in a box, but that's kind of where they're staying. So that's definitely not the outfit that she has, but they did get the black cat right, so I'm hoping it'll be kind of like the movie, because if it's not, I'm going to be kind of disappointed because, it's just this storyline has stuck in my head. And basically synopsis is this girl Coraline moves into the Pink Palace, and there she meets Wybie, the kid whose grandma owns the Pink Palace. And so what happens is Coraline finds this little door, and when she goes inside the door, she finds this whole other world with her other mother, other father, other everything. But then she realizes that that is not the case. It's not as sweet as it sounds. It definitely has some twists that she doesn't find out until later, and then she has to fight them off. And it's honestly, it's one of my favorite movies, so I'm hoping I'll love the book as well. And for the other two, I mean, I'm not quite sure. I knew I wanted to read the Graveyard Book because I've seen some other booktubers and other people read it and said they really enjoyed it. And fortunately, the Milk is kind of just a cute little story thrown in there too. I was more wanting Coraline and the Graveyard Book, so when I found this, I got very excited and I told my aunt about it, and she got it for me for Christmas, and I'm very excited to read them all. Okay, the next 3 books I have are part of the Twisted Tales series by various authors. We have A Whole New World by Liz Braswell, Reflection by Elizabeth Lim, and Mirror Mirror, Mirror Mirror by Jen Kalanta? Is that how you pronounce your last name? Probably not, because I butcher last names. Oops. But, so those are the 3 books that I have for this series. And basically, the Twisted Tales series, I might have talked about them on this channel, I don't know. But basically, they follow different villains, different people, and they kind of follow from different stories. A Whole New World is of Aladdin, and it says, what if Aladdin had never found the lamp? They put kind of twists onto the stories, which is really cool. And then, what if Mulan had to travel to the underworld, which is really fun. But I've never been a really big fan of Mulan, so I'm kind of hesitant about that one. And then Mirror Mirror is what if the evil queen poisoned the prince? And honestly, I'm thinking I'm going to get the other cover of this one because my aunt didn't know. I think I'm going to give this one back to her and get the other cover. Not that because I don't like it. I don't want to sound like I'm being picky, but I have a ton of them and they all have the same covers and this one doesn't, and it annoys me. So I'm thinking I might get the second cover and give this one to my aunt, but I don't know. I still don't know what I want to do with that yet, but that's that story. The second category I'm going to do is the books my friend gave me, which I'm very thankful for all that. These are books that she didn't want anymore, so she gave them to me, and I'm very grateful for that because I'm very excited to read all these. But the first book I have is The A to Z of You and Me by James Hanna. And this one is about a boy named Ivo, and what happens to him is that his hospice nurse tells him to think of a body part that has the same letter and think of a memory connected to that same letter. So he kind of goes through all his memories and kind of thinks of like stuff to do, and it sounds really cute, and it sounds like it's going to be kind of like a romance thing, so I'm kind of excited about that element, and I'm very excited to see what it has to offer, what it has to bring to the table. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with it, but I'm kind of excited to read it. Okay, the next book I have is WTF by Peter Larangis. And this one I'm also really excited for. I almost bought it myself because I wanted to read it, but it reminded me of my friend, so I didn't pick it up. And then I realized she was getting rid of it, so I got very excited because I really wanted to read this book because it's kind of like a thriller. Basically, it follows these 6 kids, Jimmy, Cam, Byron, Waits, Rena, and MC, and they kind of go on this little adventure thing with guns, bones being broken, hearts being broken, and everything's just going wrong. But I love this cover. This cover is amazing. And I'm very excited to see where this is going to go, and I'm very excited to read this because it sounds like such a thing that I would be interested in because I love thrillers and I love to see mysteries and stuff like that. So I'm very excited to read this. Okay, the next book I have is Glasstown by Stephen Seville. So what I'm basically getting from this book is it's about magic being in our world, just you have to know where to look for it, and there's a ton of secrets and stuff. I think basically it's about this girl named Eleanor? Yeah, this girl named Eleanor who I believe she's been murdered, or she's died in some mysterious way. So other people from the future try to figure out, I think it's future at least, I don't know, I could be wrong about that. I think that's, from what I read, that was what I was understanding. But people try and like figure out what happened to her and what's going on, and this whole glasstown, and it sounds pretty cool. This cover is beautiful, and I'm very excited to read it. Okay, the next book I have is Aesop's Fables by Aesop, and this one I believe is about a ton of different like little stories. There are 284 of them to be specific, but it follows different like characters and totally different story plots, and it kind of just, I believe they have like meanings behind them. You're supposed to understand the secret meaning, and that's kind of what I think it's about. But I'm very excited to read this book because I love like fables and fairy tales and all that stuff, so I'm very excited for this book. The next book I have is These Sisters Grimm by Michael Buckley, and this one is the inside story. This is book 8 of the series. I believe there are 9 books, and I've just recently started collecting them. I saw this one and I instantly snatched it up when my friend showed it to me, because I loved this series when I read it back in like 2018, maybe even 2017. But I love this series because it's such a cute little story, but it's so different. This basically follows 2 sisters, Sabrina and Daphne, and what happens to them is their parents go missing, so they have to live with their grandparents, or not grandparents, just grandma. I think it's just their grandma and her butler. That's why I was thinking grandparents. And so what happens is they start to be fairy tale detectives and start figuring out fairy tale crimes with their grandma, and they realize it leads to so much more, and they may even find their parents. They start to realize it has stuff to do with their parents and their parents' disappearance. So I'm very excited to have this in my possession because I love this series and I want to buy them all to have them in my possession, even though I've already read them, because I love them so very much. And the final book my friend gave me is What the Dickens by Gregory Maguire. And so I don't know a ton about this book. Mainly all I know is it's A Twisted Tale of the Tooth Fairy. And when I heard that, I got very excited. Yes, the cover's a little damaged. Do I care? Not really, because I'm very excited to read the story, and I'm excited to see what it's going to be about, because basically she told me it was a twisted tale in the Tooth Fairy, and that kind of just got me going, and I was like, twisted tale, I love those. So I'm very excited to read this, and I'm very excited to see what it has in store. Okay, so we are on to the final category of my Christmas book haul. And these are the ones that I bought for myself from BAM, which is Books A Million, for those of you who don't know. And that's my favorite place to shop. It's where I got a lot of these books that I have. And so, but yeah. So the first 2 books I have are Splintered and Untamed by A.G. Howard. So from what I got from these, it's kind of like a twist on Alice in Wonderland. So I think this is book 1 and this is book 2. When I found out it had a book 2, I got very excited, so I had to purchase it because, you know, me and my series. I had to purchase the second book before even reading the first book because, yeah, I have no self-control. I have absolutely no self-control. But so basically this is like a different take on Alice in Wonderland. Apparently she hears the thoughts of plants and insects. So then her mother puts her in an institution because she thinks she's crazy. But, actually it's not Alice in this. It's Alyssa. Alyssa Gardner to be exact. But Alyssa isn't crazy, but everyone thinks she's crazy when saying she can hear the thoughts of plants and animals. Obviously, you know, if someone said that to you, you'd think they were a little crazy. But I was so excited. I think it's a boy, at least. It might be a girl. I don't know. They have a lot of books on, kind of like Twisted Tales. So I'm very excited for these because it sounds like a really cool series and it sounds like really cool different Twisted Tales. So I'm very excited to read them. The next book I have is Dumplin, Go Big or Go Home by Julie Murphy. And this has been a book out for a little while, but I never had the chance to purchase it because, you know, I've never really thought I'd be into something like it, but I saw it in the bargain section the other day, and I was like, you know what the heck, we'll give it a shot, right? So basically, what I've gotten from this, from all the hype it's gotten, is it's about this girl who has been dubbed Dumplin because of her weight, and so her mother's like a beauty queen, I think, so she enters like a beauty pageant, and she's trying to prove that like bigger girls can do this, I think is what the synopsis is about. I could be very wrong, but that's what my intake on it is. And so I'm kind of excited to read this. I don't know if I like it or not, but you know what? Never hurts to get try. The next book I have is Slay by Brittany Morris. And this was a kind of a last minute decision too, but when I read the back of the cover, which is Black gamers go through this every day, I remind myself, it's just a part of gaming while black. Racism crops up in so many places, I should be used to it by now. But I shouldn't have to be. Not here, not in Slay. I'm here to defend that right to safety, to defend this space. I am a queen, and this is my game. So that kind of just caught my eye, and it kind of made me really, really interested in picking this book up, because I've heard a little bit about it, but I wasn't really sure if it would be something I would be interested in. But after reading that, I was kind of like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So I'm kind of excited to read this, see what it has in store, and yeah, we'll see what happens. The next book I have is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Finally, finally, finally. I cannot tell you how long I've been meaning to get this book. And this is part of the Word Cloud Classics edition. This is what it is. It's the same as the Aesop's Fables. They're both like the same cover, which is really cool, I feel like, because I love this cover for some reason. You know what? And I love the insides of it. They're so pretty. Like, I'm in love with this. So I'm not really sure what this book is about, but I do know I have this book called Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So I wanted to read Pride and Prejudice before I even picked up that book. So now I finally have it, and I can finally read it. And I'm hoping to get to this sometime soon, because I want to get to that book sometime soon, which seems like a pretty lame excuse to pick up a book because you gotta read another book because of it. But I actually really wanted to read this. I want to read some more Jane Austen stuff, because I've never read anything written by her, and I hear her writing's really good. So I'm very excited to read this book, and hopefully as soon as I read this one, I can go read the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies one, because that seems like a really cool concept, but obviously wanted to read this one first. Okay, the next book I have is The Sisters Grimm by Michael Buckley, and this one is The Ever After War. This is book 7 in the series, and like I said, I already gave the synopsis. Basically what it is, same concept. Sabrina and Daphne go off on another adventure with their grandma and trying to find their parents, and all this crazy stuff happening. And basically I'm not going to talk about it again because you've already heard about it, so you probably don't want to listen to it. But so I'm very excited. I have 2 now, so that's a part of the collection. Now I just have to go get the rest of them. And the last book I have is Sea Witch Rising by Sarah Henning. And so this one is obviously a sea witch tale from The Little Mermaid. I actually read a different kind of like Following the Sea Witch in Because You Love to Hate Me. I read that story, so I'm hoping that'll be kind of something like this. Basically, that one followed the sea witch who traded her tail or her fins or whatever she has for legs, and so I'm kind of excited to see where this one's gonna go and how it's gonna take us, and because I love The Little Mermaid, and I feel like this is gonna be a really cool book to read and a different, you know, adaptation of some insight into the sea witch. So I'm very excited for this one, and I hope I can get to it sometime soon, like the rest of my books. But you know what? I'm a procrastinator. What can I tell you? Alright guys, so that's it. Those are my books. I have a lot of them because I have no self-control. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys soon with another one. Bye!